Hello friends, I'm and today we're going to upgrade our version 1 of my productivity system, which we made in the last video in Hostinger's VPS. Now, to give you a recap, it was a productivity system in which we can add tasks or to-dos and manage them by ourselves, and all of that will be stored in my own private server. And there in the first version, Telegram was used to act as a user interface and do operations like adding and deletion. But this is the upgrade. In this video today, in version 2, we are going to add a new user interface with a clean UI, simple backend, and basic functionalities I will need. And all of it will be powered by n8n's workspace and Hostinger's VPS. So yep, let's begin. Before we move any further, let me just give you a quick recap of how the entire system is actually running. In the previous video, I set up a whole environment on VPS using Hostinger. That is where everything is hosted right now. The backend, the workflows, the system itself. I used Hostinger VPS to deploy n8n and keep it running 24/7. So instead of relying on local setups or a shared hosting, this is always online, always accessible, and to me only. And honestly, this is what makes everything possible. You get total control of your server with amazing and stable performance, and it is very easy to set up, especially for projects like these where you want automation running continuously with total control. And for this setup, I chose KVM2. And this is the most popular and most comfortable solution for my project, and it was able to get everything done without any problem. In this plan, you get 2 vCPU cores, 8 GB RAM, 100 GB of NVMe disk storage, and 8 TB of bandwidth. And on every plan, you will get AMD's EPYC processors, NVMe SSD storage, data centers worldwide, firewall management, public APIs, AI assistance through MCP, and free domains for 1 year. So if you're planning to build something similar, you can check it out using our link in the description. And there's also my coupon code available called LEGINO, LEGINO, which gives you an additional discount of 10%. And now with that setup in place, let's get back to building. Earlier, we just had a normal Telegram-based system which did all the basic functionalities of just adding a task, showing a task. Now, in this video, I had a goal just to transform this Telegram-based setup into a proper UI-based setup, for which, in order to actually create a web-based application, we need a proper backend, where all the processing will happen. But by using webhooks, we can actually make n8n and use it as a backend of its own without any heavy lifting. The first one, I added a webhook. This webhook was to grab the data from the database and give it back to the user interface or the web application. Now, in order to do that, I just had to add 3 nodes, a webhook which will initiate, a get row which will grab the rows from the database and respond to webhook which will send the data back to the server. Now, after a lot of debugging, because there were so many errors, because this was literally my first time to create something like that, I was facing so many issues even when using such a simple and interactive interface to create something like that. But still, after a lot of hit and trial and help from AI, I was able to get this done. I was able to get all my tasks which I had stored in the database listed in my UI. Now, it was time to add a functionality which will be able to add these tasks, not just list them, but add them directly through the UI. And that was kind of a hard part, because for there, adding just a functionality in the UI was easy, but the backend was pretty hard, because that required me to create another webhook with another node which will insert the rows and give the data back to the UI. And that was a problem. Now, creating this series, this chain which will do the job, was pretty easy. I did it. But the real problem came when I had to simultaneously run both of these webhooks in order to make it work, make it functional. Because the UI cannot just work from a single function. It needs both of those functions active while we're working on it. So for that, I tried a lot but still could not get it work. Then I thought, what if we were to just create two separate workflows exactly similar to each other, but one which will do the job of webhook 1 and the other one which will do the job of another webhook. And so I did. I created two workflows and published and deployed them simultaneously and executed those chain of commands. And there, it finally worked. And now it is time to show you everything. Like I've told you everything about how I was able to get it work, how I built it and transformed it from a Telegram based setup into a web UI. And now it's time to showcase that to you. So this is our Hostinger VPS right now. It is based on Ubuntu 24.04 with KVM2 plan, and it is integrated with n8n through Docker. Now let's go to the Docker, and as you can see, there it is, our n8n. Now let's go to manage n8n instead. And there, as you can see, first we need to deploy our n8n. So let me just deploy it. It's gonna take some time, and there you can see it has been deployed. So now it is time to show you how it is. So this is our workflow right now. And as you can see, these are the normal ones. This is the previous version which had Telegram as the user interface and used for major operations. But now it is just these two webhook chains kind of thing. Yeah. Now the first one is to get the tasks from the database, which will be able to list all these tasks in the UI. It just grabs all the rows from the database through here and then responds them and gives them back to the UI. While talking about the other one, in this one, it only focuses on adding new tasks through here. And this one just inserts a row in the database and gives them back to the UI. That's it. Now, in order to properly make it here, like integrate all those things here, I just implemented through APIs. For example, this one is for get task and this one is for add task. Both of them were easily accessible through here. As you can see, I just had to grab the production URL from here and paste it in this script, which will use both of them as APIs for these two operations, creation and iteration. Now, let's just deploy our website kind of web UI kind of productivity system. So I'm going to just execute the script in Python in local server, and there it is. Now I need to execute the workflow, so I'm just going to execute this workflow here, and I'm going to execute this workflow right here. Both the operations of getting and adding have been implemented. So now when I reload it, it says failed to load. So let's just first reload everything to see the UI is loaded. So yeah, this is the UI. It's just a basic UI with a heading, task and a task list. Right now there are no tasks, so let's just add some of them. For example, workout, add, there it is. It has been added. Now let's say I need to study, enter, there it is. It has been added. Now what's going on in the background is actually here. If you go to executions, as you can see, this is the get webhook, which was able to just grab the data from the database and show it again and again. And as you can see, it is consecutively applying and executing itself again and again, because in every 5 seconds, it's just iterating the execution so that the data which is showcased here is refreshed and up to date. While the other workflow here, we used it twice to insert two tasks, which were, let me just show if I can. There you see, I added a task study without any chat ID because there's no need for chat ID in a user interface with the time. So it is currently organized in the descending order. That means the one which was inserted first is going to show first because that's the first priority. Well, we can add the functionality to rearrange them in any order later, and later we're going to add the functionality to delete and complete these to-dos as well. But right now what we have is this user interface. Just to create this user interface, I had to spend around 10 hours or 15 hours consecutively, which resulted in this at last. So yep, we have at last transformed a Telegram-based bot setup into a web-based UI, which can perform similar tasks as it used to before, but now this can act as a stepping stone for the next video, in which I'm going to add the serious functionalities and create a full-fledged system, which will be able to add, delete, organize, and even monitor as tasks are being completed, and the habits, and so much more. Because now at last we have the foundation in which we are going to build our vision. Now all we need to do is add functionalities one after another and make it a whole product. And that will be continued in the next video. So yep, I hope you have enjoyed the video, and let me know in the comments what do you think about this productivity system I've built. And if you're also interested in building something like that on your own private server, then don't forget to check out Hostinger VPS with link in the description. And I'm going to meet you in the next video. Till then, I'm sign out.